Hello, welcome everybody. It's Lisa with IVF Manifesting a Miracle. And today I'm talking with a good friend of mine who is a fellow occupational therapist and an amazing IronMan. What was it? You're a finisher, right?
Yes, times two.
And a mama of two and just an amazing woman. So thank you, Yen Adams, for joining me for a Soul Sister conversation.
Oh my goodness, Lisa, thanks for having me. I can't believe that I get to share my story with you, and thanks for inviting me because this is really cool.
Yeah, so the topic for today is one that I'm educating myself on this. I don't know enough about it related to surrogacy and gestational carriers. And you yourself were a gestational carrier. I would love for you to just kind of open up and share a bit of yourself and your story, kind of how you got to become one.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, my twin girls just turned 7 last week.
The twin girls you carried.
Yes, the twin girls I carried as a carrier turned 7. I just can't believe that the time has gone by I wouldn't say as if it was yesterday, but the emotions and the feelings of doing that is still very present. I got into becoming a surrogate or a gestational carrier years ago because, you know, I knew a lot of people that were having infertility challenges to the point where I was beginning to feel a little guilt. I was going through my own pregnancies. I have an 11 and a 9-year-old daughter, and I was blessed to have uneventful pregnancies and births. But being surrounded by friends who are having challenges, I felt bad celebrating. You know, even my sister was having infertility challenges, and I just wanted to do something. You know, I can definitely show my support and love, but I wanted to do more. So I asked my sister, "Is like, you want me to carry your baby for you?" Because she was a little older too. So, but you know, she was like, "If it's not in God's will, I'm okay." And she just loves being an aunt because I am one of 5 girls in my family.
Oh my goodness.
And she just loves being an aunt, and that's her role. But I always felt like there was a little void, like I wanted to do more. So I remember my husband making dinner one night, and I was like, "Honey, I have this amazing uterus. Like, I want to do something." So we just kind of casually opened the laptop, and I'm just doing my research. I have 2 young daughters. They were like 1 and 3 at the time, running around. And I came across a website in Colorado that helps with infertility. So I just haphazardly sent in an application. I didn't even think twice about it. And immediately I got an email like, "Oh my goodness, Yen, you sound like the perfect candidate." And from that on, it just kind of spiraled quickly, you can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so amazing to me that, you know, here you are, two young daughters of your own. And it honestly takes like a personal story, something you've gone through, you know, with your sister, seeing the struggles that she went through and how a lot of that pain can like fuel us into a new purpose, you know, and you were like, I can really help someone and be a carrier. So I love that you took it upon yourself to really investigate that and we're like, I can make a difference in someone's life. And the couple that you helped, can you share? I know you got matched up and
yeah.
in Europe.
So the whole process was quite the whirlwind. It's because there's a lot of different infertility agencies throughout the United States. I just happened to find Conceivabilities here in Colorado because I didn't want to travel. And quite frankly, I was just kind of looking for more information.
Right.
They got my health, my you know, all of my medical background. And the couple wanted to use Dr. Schoolcraft as well. So all of that kind of aligned. I had to do a psych evaluation. Nate and I did a psych evaluation. I went and met Dr. Schoolcraft, and he read through my medical history with a fine-tooth comb. And this couple I met, it's kind of like a dating book. Like you have everyone's profile. And this couple in Europe wanted to meet me. So they flew in And because she was getting her own eggs harvest as well, so it kind of worked. The timing worked, and it was like we're on a double date with a mediator between Nate and I and this lovely
They were
couple.
going through that clinic here in Colorado, and then you got matched up, and within 3 days or something, right?
Within like a week. It was so ridiculously fast. I could not believe it that this, and we met on our first date, and we just truly got along. And the mediator was like, you know what, why don't you guys think about it? You guys are obviously get along. And before Nate and I like pull into our driveway, the mediator called and said they want to be matched with you. And that really got the ball rolling. I had my own lawyer, conceivabilities, hooked me up with a lawyer. They had their own lawyer.
Yeah, it's a pretty lengthy process, right? I mean,
it is, because we're going back and forth.
And can you explain a little bit too about being a gestational carrier versus being a surrogate and you were carrying her eggs,
yes.
Yeah.
So I was basically an oven. But from my understanding, a surrogate is when they use their own DNA and carry it for someone else. But I was a carrier, so she was getting her eggs harvested, and they were fertilizing it at Dr. Schoolcraft's, a CCRM's facility.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just going back and forth with the lawyer process.
Yeah.
What they wanted, can they put 1 egg, 2 eggs? What are the risks of 2 eggs? They are
more like embryos, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, embryos. My fault.
That's okay.
Yeah, embryo.
So you just the drug testing, the shots,
Yes.
You did it all.
Everything, yes. So I did a mock trial and did, the butt injections. It was a whole family affair.
Yeah.
It was, and then the progesterone, the suppository, the blood draws, measuring my liner, all of that. And my body responded very well.
And they transferred how many embryos into you? 2. Okay.
So from my understanding, she was she had 24 eggs, 18 survived fertilization. Dr. Schoolcraft, he DNA tests all of it.
Okay.
And of the 18, 2 were only viable. And they put the 2 embryos in me.
Oh my gosh. And you're sharing before we had talked, about all that's involved and them treating you like family in a way, giving you kind of maternity clothes or an allowance for clothes and for organic food. And can you share a little bit about that process?
Absolutely.
I can imagine them being in Europe and you're here, and just how you keep that like close connection of like you're carrying their potential little ones,
Yeah, and it's quite a unique relationship, and it's something I truly value. Like I said, going through the lawyer process, everybody has their own desires. They are very healthy, they're vegetarians, and they wanted me to have an organic diet. Mm-hmm. And it was optional. I can decide to do it or not. I'm like, heck yeah, I want organic food. And they were able to give me an allowance for that, to just strictly eat organic foods, which is great. Mm-hmm. They knew that, I'm going to need maternity clothes as I got bigger. And so they're like, I'm happy to give you an allowance to give you maternity clothes. And as I was getting bigger and bigger, they were so concerned about my comfort that they bought me a recliner and got it delivered.
That's so cool.
They were very hands-on, and with social media and things these days, they were able to join me on Zoom, doctors' meetings. They were with me the whole step of the way. I'll get flowers. They just really took care of me, and I just love the relationship we developed.
And you had 2 little ones at the same time you were going through this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
3-ish, 2. How old were your little girls?
They were 1 and 3 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
But I was very fortunate in that pregnancy was I don't want to say easy, it was uneventful. Right. It didn't slow me down because I was still working as an OT.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was still doing a full-time job and
I met you because we used to be coworkers, and I didn't know your whole story until later on. Like, it's funny how you don't really, that's not something that really would come up, right, in conversation, but I was going through fertility challenges later, and it's just that connected us in a unique way. I didn't know that you had done all of that, you know?
it's something I don't really like shout on a rooftop. I did it for me. You know, there's a selfish component to it too. Like I take joy and pride knowing that I did that. You know, I love the gift of motherhood. I love it. Why
Mm-hmm.
not share it?
And I love that you also were connected with other women who were gestational carriers. Can you talk a little bit about that? There was
Oh yes,
a
yes.
support group.
Yeah, so what Conceivability does is we do a monthly support group. So there was a few ladies that I met who were on the same phases, like we're both like 3 months pregnant, or so every month we'll meet and we'll talk and have bagels and cream cheese, and it was such a nice group. And we stayed connected ever since. It's been 7 years. A few of them continued on with more journeys, and
Yeah.
but I just did that one, and it is so fun because that's the common bond between us, but we gotten to know each other outside of that too, which is pretty cool.
And I love that you're still active. You're still friends with a lot of them, right? And
Yeah, I really am. It's truly a blessing. So
you're,
I got a lot out of this journey myself.
yeah, and your pregnancy. So they transferred 2 embryos, and then you had shared with me that you went into active labor a little bit early. Can you
My
share
water broke at 31 weeks.
31 weeks?
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
That
it
whole
is.
story you were telling me with the woman, how they flew in. Can you share a little bit about that?
You know, they are the most organized people, just absolutely loving, and they're just very, and so they haven't told any of their friends or family yet because, you know, they were guardedly optimistic.
Protecting themselves, and yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because this has been a 7 year process for them before they met me.
Yeah.
Um, so they found the best of the best in the United States, and we just happened. But anyhow,
Yeah.
so I had my 31-week appointment. Everything looked great. They were part of the Zoom call. So they fly to France to celebrate with friends and family. And they were just partying, having a great time. Everyone's losing their marbles for them. And I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh, honey, my water broke. And we're like,
Mm-hmm.
so they were very responsive. So I text them and I wrote them a message like, hey, I'm going to the hospital. My water broke. Get here ASAP. And the whole day they did not respond because they were partying. They were at the beach. So I checked myself into Littleton Hospital.
Yeah.
They put me on strict bed rest, and they said, if you start having contractions and going to active labor, we can't stop it. So, oh my God, I like prayed and prayed.
Like,
And
stay in there.
I know I was negotiating with the higher beings up there to keep the baby safe. Just one more week, just give me one more week, just, you know, any day. So they were getting ready to have dinner. So he comes into his hotel room in France and his phone is blowing up. And all his friends were partying. And he's trying to sober up and going, what is going on? What is going on?
Oh my God.
So they were in a panic. All their stuff is in Europe, their home.
Yeah.
But then they were vacationing, so they flew in their beach clothes, smelling like sunscreen,
Oh my God.
sand still in their
Oh
toes.
my God.
It was
Wow.
quite
That's
the
the call of your
ordeal.
lifetime, right? Like, your babies are coming soon. Get here.
Yeah, right. So I was able to wheel the baby in for until they made 32 weeks, and we had C-sections and 2 sweet baby girls. And thank God, because all they needed was just to put on fat. They were just skinny little things. They didn't need oxygen.
Well, they were in
So
ICU for a little bit, weren't they? In
yeah,
ICU
they were in ICU for about 6 weeks.
here in
I
Colorado.
Pardon me?
Here in Colorado, right?
Yeah, in Littleton.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was able to produce milk. They got my colostrum. They got, you know, my 6 weeks, months of breast milk. and it was awesome. And they had to go to Europe, right? They got to go back. So the babies had to transition over to formula, but I was still producing milk. And being in that surrogacy group, there was a couple who wanted breast milk for their baby. And one of the women couldn't produce milk. So I gave them my milk. It was beautiful that I was able to help two families.
That's incredible. And so after that process, I mean, carrying those babies, and you kind of shared openly with me, you had a little bit of the baby blues afterwards.
Yeah. It was.
Oh.
It was a little sad, only because it's like, you know, I was this main character. I had the baby blues with Lily and Ella, with my two daughters. But, you know, I was able to get over it. And so I told my husband, like, honey, I'm worried that I might get the baby blues for this pregnancy as well, even though they're not mine. I sense something coming on. And my husband's like, it's okay, it's normal. You're hormonal. He knows what to do. He made sure I was hydrated. I got a lot of love and support. And I'm like, I'm feeling so sad. It's not because I missed the baby, but I'm just so sad. And he was like, Yin, you were the main character in this book, but they killed you off.
Oh my God.
And so it's not about you anymore. It's the babies. And he's like, you know, you'll come up in subsequent chapters, but it's not about you anymore. You did what you needed to do. You were the main character. You set the pace, but they gotta move on with their journey and their book. So that put things in perspective for me, and I was able to snap out of it.
Yeah, it's oh, thank you for being so vulnerable, and just, you know, your husband, oh my gosh, where's that
Poor guy.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I admire you so much for what you did in helping so many families. It takes like truly such a big heart to open your life up to carry little ones that I know that you aren't able to carry anymore, as I am not able to as well. And you just cherish the babies that you have and the ones that you were able to help bring into the world. And, you know, for those thinking about this path, I don't know, what advice or encouragement would you give to people who are thinking about maybe becoming, well, there's both ways, who want to become a gestational carrier, and for those that, you know, that need them. I know women personally who definitely need the help to be, to carry their little ones.
Oh, I'm going to start tearing. Oh my goodness. I did it because, whew.
Oh, it's okay. Oh. So many women depend, like they wouldn't be able to have children without people like you.
And think about it. It's just like, I'm able to do something to help. And so why not? Like, growing up, I didn't have a lot. But what I did have was my health, my ability to give to others, and my ability to support women.
Yeah.
So it's,
oh
my God, I did it
no.
because the joy of motherhood, and just, I got your back. I got your back. And seeing friends with challenges, it broke my heart. There was a sense of guilt that I felt too. I felt guilty that they're not experiencing the joy of pregnancy. And there's such taboo about infertility. And I hate that. Why is there such negative taboo about it? Why can't we talk about it? It's terrible.
It's so common, and it's like this little secret that either you know someone that's going through it now, or they know someone. It's more present and common than people know, than they realize. And once you start opening yourself up and talking about it, you realize, wow, you're not alone. They say 1 in 8, right, are struggling through fertility challenges. It's probably a lot more than that. 1 in 6, 1 in 7. I don't know, but it's It's
And and miscarriages and things like that. That's
one
hard
in
too.
four. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 in 4. And the woman
So
you cared for, she had how many miscarriages?
many, 7 years worth. And she tried 2 surrogates before she found me.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I am just so grateful. But for women who are struggling or having challenges or self-doubt, because sometimes we find worth in ourselves being mothers, right? But having infertility, it does not validate who you are, you know.
Exactly.
And so I feel terrible when I have friends who feel that they need that validation.
Mm.
But know that there's people like me out there. There's a huge community that I'm still friends with, and we just want to empower each other. And there's nothing negative or shame about helping one another, or to admit, like, you know what, I do have challenges. So people who feel that they are needing to cross that road, is like, maybe we should look into surrogacy. There's nothing embarrassed about
Exactly. Exactly. Wow.
that. I didn't mean for this to get this deep, Lisa.
No, are you kidding me? This is what I crave conversations like this. This is what the Soul Sister conversations are all about. I mean, I admire you so much, and just what better gift can you give a family that wants a family, that you gave everything. And
And I just never want them to feel in debt to me. I did it, and I'm okay. We have a very respectful relationship, but I don't ever want them to feel like they owe me or in debt to me. We did it. We did it. We're here together, and that's it. And what was funny is, like, I pride myself in trying to be an amazing role model, a strong woman for my daughter, a woman who gives and support. Um, and so I feel that my role to them is being this amazing mother and woman. But the funny thing is, I want my surrogate babies to feel the same way about me too. I want them to maybe one day reflect and go, Mom, who helped us get into this world? And she can say, it's this woman. She's awesome, and so I want to be a pillar of an excellent woman for them too.
you are. I mean, not only physically being the IronMan finisher, but even, I mean, you recently did a pageant here in Colorado. I should share with everybody here that Mrs. Castle Pines 2020. I love it. It's so beautiful. And just, your story, I know, left a big impact with the judges in the competition. I mean, wasn't this part of kind of your story?
Yes. So when doing the pageant, you kind of have to write a bio about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I've met so many amazing women, and a few of them have become great friends. And a lot of them share their stories of infertility. And so, the judges really connected to what I did. And that was one of the platforms that I was able to talk and share about.
Yeah. I love that you're spreading more awareness about it. It's just, that's awesome. And so Mrs. Colorado, running for that, is that 2020 is.
Yes, that was my season's over, but they're taking new title holders for 2021. That's open now.
Yeah.
But doing the pageant actually was a childhood dream of mine.
I love
And
it.
I wanted to be an example again to my girls. Like, come on, I get nervous on a stage in a bathing suit and a gown and interview, but that's just how I grow as a person, right? It's just keep on pushing and challenging myself.
Totally. You're amazing. And share with people kind of the work you're doing now as an occupational therapist, and where I met you.
Yes, how we met, right? What a blessing. I've been an occupational therapist for 18 years. And as a role as an OT, is we empower independence. We empower just living your best life. I think we were, what is it called? Self-help coaches.
Life
Before it was
coaches.
even like, yeah, right?
The original life coaches.
Yes, the original life coaches. But we have the physical, the emotional, the spiritual background.
Yeah.
That's what makes our profession so unique. So my love has always been in neurology. But since having kids and getting older, I couldn't do stroke rehab as awesome as I would like. And moving to Colorado, the only opportunity and the flexibility that I can get was in dementia rehab. And I was like, how hard can that be?
It's
Let's
challenging.
just say it was one of the hardest and most challenging population I've had to work with, but it's also the most rewarding. I love coming to work every day for the last 9 years and learning about dementia rehab. There's so little out there. So I'm considered a specialist in Colorado because I've been doing it 9 years, day in, day out, full time.
Awesome.
And I
You're in a
picked up
memory facility. I should want to share that with people. You work in a facility.
and I run the rehab department there. I support other communities for my company. We have over 30, we've penetrated over 30 communities here in Colorado.
Mhm.
I'm the dementia specialist, so I go and help and spread joy and love and just insight in what we can do as a profession to maximize a person's quality of life.
You're such a bright light. Like, it comes through, and I'm so thankful to have you as a friend, and just
Oh, Lisa, I love you. I've always
for
loved you
doing.
from day one.
Oh, thank you for
You
doing.
push me to be better too. You
Mm.
do. I'm not as smart as you, but you definitely push me to be smart.
Oh my goodness. Well, just doing these conversations really, opens up the dialogue for more people to hear about options on their path to motherhood. And, you're such an example of like what's possible, and just in many, many ways through your work, through your personal endeavors. And I know you also sit on a board for, tell me about that, the gala. Tell me, what is that again?
Yeah, the Opera Colorado board.
Yeah, I mean, you're always like just growing and furthering yourself. And so I admire so
Well,
much.
well, growing up, being a refugee during the Vietnam War and having very little, I always loved the arts, just something that my family couldn't afford, but
Mhm.
something I always loved, just going on field trips, getting like dressed up and just so enamored. And I always told myself one day, when I've made it, I'm still trying to make it, but
We
one
never
day
fully arrive, right? We're always.
when I make it, I'm gonna give back. I'm
Hmm.
gonna give back. On a night of accidentally stolen opera, we kind of took someone's seat on accident for the opera. We accidentally snuck into a theater. I don't even know how we did that. It
Oh
was
my
just
God.
so funny. So anyhow, so my husband wrote a funny letter to the opera board, and we apologized that we stole opera seats. Ellie Calkins thought that was the funniest thing.
Oh my
So
God.
we got to meet Ellie Calkins,
Really?
and
Oh my
yeah,
God.
and so ever since then we've become just season ticket holders for the opera.
You just stumbled
And,
upon some seats? I'm a little confused.
well, we were supposed to go to Wicked,
Oh,
so
yeah.
our tickets were at will call, but we went to the wrong will call window.
Oh,
But our name is Adams. How many Adams do you know?
gotcha.
So
Okay.
we went to the wrong will call window,
Oh,
got someone's other tickets for the Ellie Calkins versus the Beale
oh, okay,
Theater.
gotcha. Oh my gosh.
And we were sitting there, we're like, I'm confused. What's going on? It took about like a second scene for us to realize that we're in El Trovatore.
Oh.
We had the what is it called? The billfold.
Yeah.
And we thought El Trovatore was an ad for a restaurant.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
We're so classy.
So now you're on the board for the gala for the.
Yeah, and so I've been invited to sit on the gala board. Basically, what I do is I help raise funds to bring the arts to underprivileged schools. So
Very cool.
that's what I do. I raise awareness, and we raise funds, and it's so fun. And because like I said, when I was younger, that was the highlight of my younger years, is going to these amazing arts.
So awesome.
And so I'm giving back that way.
I love it. Any last thoughts about being a gestational carrier you want to share? Anything?
Just keep on swimming. Like
Yeah.
you have a community. There's, I may not know your listeners, but there's people like me out there. And
There's probably Facebook groups. There's probably all kinds of support.
And don't feel alone. Don't ever feel alone. I couldn't get through life without my community, without support. You know, there's so, like, even during my surrogacy journey, I didn't do it by myself. I had a mentor, I had a mediator, I had a support group. It's okay to be vulnerable. I just don't want people to ever feel that they're alone. And if you're sitting like, I want to help, how can I help? And if you're able and you want to think about it, reach out to me or to Lisa. It's okay, and we'll talk more, so you can go ahead and help other women.
I'll share some ways if people, I don't know, we'll have to connect on how you would like to be contacted if people have more questions, or if they can send them to me at IVF Manifesting a Miracle, and I'll connect. Hey, whoever wants to ask you some more questions, maybe be willing, or resources. We can share some resources too in the links. But I just love you. Thank you so much, Yen.
Oh, thanks for having me, Lisa. And I'm so happy that I finally get to share my story after 7 years, right?
Have you never shared it, really? Haven't?
Just with the pageantry, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. It's an honor to tell your story. So
absolutely.
I get to see you in person soon, I hope.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah, and for anyone that would like further support on their fertility journey, reach out to me at ivfmanifestingamiracle.com, and I'll upload this to YouTube on my station and on Instagram, a couple different social links. So thank you, Yen. Bye, everybody.
Absolutely.